Joining us from Amsterdam, I am delighted to welcome Lennert de Jong. He is Chief Commercial Officer of CitizenM. That is the Netherlands-based hotel chain founded in 2008. Lennert, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mitra.
So I want to look back. The last time I talked to you was in September. It was when you were getting ready to launch the corporate subscription program, which we will talk about in detail in a moment. But I'd like to remind you of something that you said at the time, and I'm going to just read your quote. You said that it was a smarter alternative to, quote, stupid loyalty programs where you get a card and start collecting points. So explain that a bit more. First of all, do you still feel that way? And why are traditional programs stupid?
Yeah, stupid, I think, is a very Dutch direct way of saying that you might not see the need of something. But yeah, if I compare if I look at the loyalty programs, and I think in the airline industry where you're really talking about a commodity, airline seats, I can understand, but even there, the first one to really up its experience will get more customers choosing for the experience. But if I look at the hotel industry, there's so much diversity out there, and we've also heard it earlier, of course, in the more vacation rental and Airbnb. We already have so much, competition on the customer experience. And if I look at the traditional loyalty program, all that it is, it's a distribution channel for hotels to get business customers in during the week and leisure customers in the weekend, because it's not really driving loyalty. That loyalty really, for me, happens in that physical experience. It's not about the booking. It's not where people book. It's a physical experience, and that's why, I'm seeing traditional points-based loyalty programs as a dirty benefit to basically take your boss's money and take a bit of it private.
Okay, so talk a bit more than how should we define and measure loyalty?
Well, of course, you have to look at the perspective, where you're basing it from. And so our perspective is we are owners of real estate. We operate. We have a long-term vision. If you are a big brand.com, your existence is based on people going to the website and making a reservation. So I understand that these guys talk about the number of people with a loyalty program and the spend they do, because it's driving their existence and it's making them compete with the online travel agencies. But if I look at it from our perspective, loyalty for us comes actually from two angles. It's the net promoter score and the customer lifetime value. And so it's how likely is it that these customers recommend you to their friends and family? If you're at a birthday party, are you going to, do you get bragging rights for staying at, with all respect, the Courtyard by Marriott, or you're going to talk about something else? So that for us is one element. And the other element, which is a little bit more financial, is customer lifetime value. It's how much does a customer spend on average in its lifetime with your brand.
So let's talk a bit about your subscription programs. I understand they were developing pre-pandemic. You have two programs. You have the corporate subscription for companies that have remote workers and might need a place for them to stay occasionally, a place for them to work and meet. And then you also have the global passport that is more for those individual digital nomads. Can you tell us a bit more? What has been the uptake? Those both launched last fall, I believe. What has been your uptake with those, and what are you learning?
Well, especially on the global passport, we had a lot of real traction because it's, if you look at it, you could argue a lot of people call it a subscription, but is it a subscription? It's a commitment from people to stay with you and nowhere else. That's replacing people's apartments, basically. And so it's a fixed price per night, or you can stay across the globe at any CitizenM with a minimum length of stay of 7 nights for around $50 a day. Well, it is $50 a day. Minimum commitment is 30 days. And we've literally had thousands of nights booked on that global passport. We've had people that did not renew their apartment. We had people that travel around wherever they could travel. Of course, people are still hindered by air travel, right? So we can see a lot more local consumption. So it's people that have to go back to the office in New York, but they don't want to commit to a lease of $2,500 a month. Yeah, we're offering them a great price to pay for around $1,500 a month. So that real traveling, staying a week in New York and then going to Paris, that's of course not happening yet. But we will keep this program alive, the Global Passport, for as long as there's room in our inventory. And the other program that you mentioned, the corporate subscription, for us, well, we were maybe naive, maybe not. We didn't know where COVID was going to bring us next, but we could see the numbers going up in the summer. We could really see New York and the East Coast, but also in Seattle, business picking up in September. So that's why we decided, let's go and talk to warm leads, our corporates, about this corporate subscription, which is a fixed price per month, which includes 3 nights every month and a couple of meeting room hours, unlimited working from our space, etc. There we've had a lot of positive traction, but no take-up, as corporates are still not traveling. And so we put that kind of in the fridge. We took the feedback from corporates, and we didn't hear a lot of no's in our discussions. So we literally spoke with 400 corporates. Everybody was interested, from small media outlets with 20 staff that were never going to go back to the office and needed this second place where they could meet, where they can crash for the night, where they can receive people, kind of this 24-hour-a-day place. To big companies that are locating people further away. I think that Facebook announced that you can now live in San Diego if you work at the Silicon Valley. These people it's a different type of traveler. It's almost like it's replacing the commute.
And so is that, you're planning to keep that around as well then, with the hope that there will be more interest as things reopen a bit more?
No, absolutely. It's a product we developed. Systems are there. They're waiting for travel to resume. And there will be more subscriptions actually coming that are more tailored to the individual. That's what we're currently working on. But the subscriptions are really I would say the transactional component of loyalty. We want people, we want to have a certain reciprocity within the relationship with frequent users. We don't believe that giving them just a card, say, well, here's a discount or free Wi-Fi, and you punish other people from not being a part of the program. So we do believe that just like Amazon, if you want to get free delivery, you want to be part of the Amazon Prime program. We want to develop that for the hotel industry.
Can you tell us anything more about this new subscription that you're developing?
Yeah, I can. Well, on how we are going to launch it, because this is, of course, if the product is not included, it's not so. There's not much tension when the volumes return. But if the product is included, you can imagine this global passport for $50 a night in properties that are normally charging $300. There will be tension with the revenue management team pretty soon when normal travel resumes. So what we're really doing is a minimum viable product, with a subset of our database to do a real experiment. But first of all, how much is the appetite? If we send an email, to 50,000 of our customers, how many people will subscribe to it? And then we want to learn what's the behavior. Is there extra spend from these people? Did they spend more than the one night that is part of the program? And when we have learned throughout, I would say Q3 and Q4, then we're going to go for a full launch with all the press and all the also people from the outside being able to participate. But yeah, it's a very exciting program that we want to keep to ourselves a little bit before we send it to the big masses.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine, I was going to ask, do these types of programs make sense as travel starts to rebound and rates return and all of that? I'd imagine that gets very complicated to figure out if the recovery is as fragmented as it seems to be, with some markets really coming back and others still stifled as far as coming up with the pricing.
Yeah, but we do have, we do have good tracking. We developed specific traffic light systems basically for us to launch a full subscription. And we do believe that in Q3 full travel will resume. But again, if you focus on customer lifetime value, you can maybe shortchange yourself a little bit on a specific day where you could have asked more to a couple of business people in town. But if you see the customer lifetime value growing, then you know you're on the right path.
And I'm curious your thoughts, if some of the big chains developed some sort of a subscription program similar to this, is there any risk? How do you compete with that when you only have 21 hotels, I believe, correct?
Yeah, we're not for everyone. We're for a specific target audience, and we are in the metropolitan cities of the world. So we are targeting business travelers. I don't think the big chains will be able to compete with what we're going to put in the market, simply because they don't own the real estate. So they have to manage the relationships with the owners. And that's already difficult enough with loyalty, right? So all the rules around redemption of that you see currently happening, everybody can redeem their nights, and the hotel owners get paid the housekeeping costs. But to make deals like that going forward, whereby you have a central liability and a execution across the portfolio, you can only do if you control the entire chain. And that's not something you see with the big chains. Even innovation they're rolling out, it's only limited to certain hotels because they cannot ask for locks to be upgraded, whatever. So you've seen it throughout history that sometimes the small guys can beat the big guys when it comes to things like this.
You mentioned that you're focused on the cities. Still confident in that focus, even as we've heard that it may be some time before some of the really big cities are able to come back?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a long game for us, and we don't see, of course, right now people. If you look at the concentration, I mean, look at ourselves. We're all working from home. The business doesn't happen in the cities. People still wait to be vaccinated, but we do believe that at the end of the year, people will be confident again to go to the cities. There will be some revenge travel, and we also do believe in the longevity of business travel. It might change, right? There might be less meaningless trips to the cities. The times that I travel 3 times a week to London without staying overnight are probably gone. But there will be other travel taking place.
What about, we heard Spencer Lee from AirAsia talking about the idea of building a much broader ecosystem and partnerships. And I know I have talked to the folks from Nordic Choice Hotels, for example, who have been working on a program whereby local people that live near some of their hotels can maybe subscribe, if you will, to have housekeeping services provided by the Nordic Choice housekeeping staff, things such as that. Are you exploring any kind of more what I would call creative options like that, or what do you think about those types of partnerships?
Well, not in that direction. We do think that with a subscriber base, of course, it's a bit of a chicken and the egg, right? So starting a partnership, you need to bring some user base to the table. But obviously, on the offering side, on the customer side, we will be very interested to partner up with airlines and meeting organizers to be able to offer your team meeting in Amsterdam from wherever you are in Europe at a fixed price. I think those type of things we would be interested in. We are always interested in the local communities. We offer products so they can utilize our hotels, work from our spaces, do their calls from our spaces. We also have probably a work subscription, but outsourcing or providing housekeeping services, that's not something yet that we've seen ending up on our to-do list.
Are you in talks with some airlines or meeting planners for those types of ideas that you just mentioned?
Yeah, we've had conversations, and to be honest, we have to work a little bit on our own structure, but we've had conversations in the US, but also in the Netherlands with airlines to do things like that. We're also in conversations with actually a tech company that's providing a blockchain solution on how to manage this type of agreements, right? Because that's always the most difficult part if you do business. Let's say we provide together with KLM a team meeting package, so you could bring a team to anywhere in Europe where CitizenM has hotels for a fixed price, including the ticket. Then obviously how the money flow then is going to work, that's always going to be a little bit an obstacle. And so that we are addressing. But we did have several conversations with airlines and also demands from companies on that.
I'm curious, who is really the competitor for CitizenM? Is it primarily hotels or alternative accommodations or a mix depending on the location?
Yeah, I think it's a bit different for everyone. We compete with other hotels, especially on the transactional side. So I'm looking for a night in London. Yeah, you compete with the top 100 of hotels on Booking.com. But I'm looking for CitizenM. This traveler that goes to all these different cities and is becoming a fan of our brand. We don't have a, let's say, operator at a global level in all of the cities that we compete with. On the alternative supply side, I do think that's especially for leisure. It's competition, but at the same time, CitizenM is represented with all hotels on Airbnb at the moment. So yeah, we are part of that search as well. So it's a certain customer that is willing to have a certain experience. And what we found already years ago by putting one room on Airbnb just to try it out is that these people are really liking CitizenM as well. So that I always thought that the plain vanilla landscape of boring branded boxes is going to be tackled first by Airbnb. But the people that are going for points to hotels that are not really inspiring are not the people that are looking on Airbnb. They just go to bigbrand.com and they repeat and repeat and repeat. So we recognized years ago that probably our customer is always for leisure also looking for Airbnb. And we treat Airbnb as a distribution channel to that extent.
So we're about out of time, but just one final question. We're about to hear from Lindsay Nelson from TripAdvisor. And of course, they're getting a lot of attention recently for this TripAdvisor Plus program that they have launched. I'm curious if you have any thoughts about that. Is that something participating in that might be a good fit for CitizenM, or any opinions on that?
I think we're always interested to explore innovation by partners like TripAdvisor or other distribution partners if it helps us to get closer to our potential customers. So that is really the quest. We're out there for customer lifetime value, and there's a certain cost of acquisition that is associated with that. And any partner that can help us to achieve more customer lifetime value or lower cost of acquisition, we're always interested in. So let's hear it from her.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, Lennert, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to hearing about some of those future subscription offerings that you'll be creating. Now, I'd like to turn it over to PhocusWire editor Kevin May to close out this PhocusWire Pulse event.